Shalom, ladies, and welcome back. We are right at the end of Proverbs 31 study. Can you believe it? It has been a long journey. Definitely it has. I think it gets quite intense when you do verse by verse study. But, for us to really understand Scripture, we need to make sure that we grasp it completely and that we get a full understanding of the words and the context of each passage or each verse that makes up the passage, and read it within context. And the Proverbs 31 study has been a difficult one for many women to understand. I personally for years felt that I fell short, that I would never make it, that I'm not creatively inclined to be able to do needlework and all that kind of things. But as we've seen, the study is so much more. It's a very spiritual based one, and it's actually, even men could grasp from the or grow from this, because it's related to the bride of Messiah. That's what it comes down to. And even though we can learn a lot from it in our personal lives and grow in our faith, it is meant for the whole body of Messiah, for the bride of Messiah. So if any of you have learned anything stood out to you, you have any testimonies from the study, please do share it, that it can encourage other people. And maybe it will encourage someone who's gone through a similar situation as you, and how it's helped your growth, your relationships with your husband, with your children, or even with Abba Father directly. This last passage, verse 31, we'll see it's about the fruit of the woman's hands. And this is, for me, right at the end. We've planted all these seeds. We've learned how the woman of valor is supposed to carry herself, how she's supposed to be balanced, how she's supposed to not neglect her tent time. That is the time with Father, that personal time with Him. And now you can see this is the fruit of it. This is what she's going to be harvesting from being diligent, from being that woman that Father wants from us, that bride. So let's just quickly go read the passage. Proverbs 31:31 says, "Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates." If you've got the Woman of Valor book, which I'm sure a lot of you are going to go out and actually buy after this, where you can actually join me in reading this on page 161. It says, in the final verse of our text, we are challenged to celebrate the woman of valor because of the fruit of her hands. The manifestation of her devotion to her beloved is her works, not the words of her mouth or the doctrine she devoutly adheres to. Her intimate marriage is not the result of works, but her fruitful life is the result of a dynamic relationship she enjoys with her husband. The same is true for us. Abide in me, I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, so neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine. That is from John 15, verse 4 to 5. I'll stop that in the middle of a verse. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, he bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. The result of abiding in the vine is to bear good fruit. The woman of valor demonstrates a life of intimate devotion to her husband, complete trust in him, to provide resources, and delight in extending her hands to the world around her, willingly, skillfully, and lovingly. She isn't interested in impressing others on social media or even being recognized as a faithful church member. She quietly continues to choose him above all else. She protects their intimacy by spending time in his tent. The legacy that each of us will leave behind won't include how well we could defend our belief system or how busy we were in the community groups. We will be known by the quality of the relationships we nurtured and by how we took care of the people who were in our immediate circle of influence. The secret life we cultivate with our husband, whether heavenly or earthly, will affect what we produce. Our last biblical portrait of woman is one whose life produced fruit worthy of praise. Her name is Ruth. The determination she displays is making the journey from her home in Moab to follow her mother-in-law Naomi is rooted in a deep connection with truth. She knows that the faith of her deceased husband's people is true and good. Naomi tried to convince Ruth to return to her own people now that she has no obligation to her dead husband's family. But Ruth chooses life. She has witnessed for herself the kind of life God gives to his people. So now she chooses to leave the safe and familiar land of her own people and begin her journey of faith. She insists on following Naomi to Bethlehem and says to her, "Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from following you, for where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus may Adonai do to me, and worse, if anything but death parts you and me." Ruth's words and deeds are consistently generous and kind. As we follow Ruth's story, we see how she respects Naomi's wishes and how she humbly gleans grain from the corners of the fields. She continues to watch, learn, and trust. She meets Boaz, her kinsman redeemer, who takes her for his bride and gives her children. The fruit of her marriage to Boaz was a son who became the grandfather of King David, the forefather of Messiah, our kinsman redeemer. Ruth's choice to pursue a journey of faith and to allow the God of Israel to make her life fruitful led to Boaz, declaring that she was a woman of valor. Her works were and are praised in the gates. Are you willing to leave the familiar, the popular, and the comfortable? Do you sense it is time to go forward and make the journey God has appointed for you? He wants you to live your seemingly ordinary life with excellence. This whole Woman of Valor study, I believe, is depicted in Ruth. Ruth became a Hebrew, just like Abraham when he crossed over. He left his father's house and idols and stepped over and followed Jehovah and obeyed him. Ruth left her father's house. She left her culture and came in and followed the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and became a Hebrew, an Israelite. We decided when we took on Yeshua Messiah to leave our father's house, to leave those pagan ways, and to cross over and become part of Israel, to be grafted in. We are now grafted into the vine, and you need to bear fruit. And the way you're going to bear that fruit is by spending time with Father, becoming balanced in everything, balancing between the spiritual and the physical, and becoming that true woman of valor. Here are some questions that you can ponder on as we have closed off now this wonderful study. Are you abiding in the vine and bearing fruit? Do you live a life impressing people or your husband? Are you willing to leave the familiar, the popular, and the comfortable? Walking this walk is not always comfortable, not always easy. When you took on Yeshua Messiah, he didn't come with a promise that everything's going to be easy, that you're not going to have any trials, you're not going to have any difficulties, that life's going to be smooth sailing, everything but. But what he does promise you is that he will give you the strength, he will give you the wisdom to conquer that. But you're going to become more like Messiah. The more trials you go through, the more the flesh has to die. Well, you've got to choose if the flesh is going to die. Because as you let the flesh die, the more you become like Messiah and the stronger you become. I hope that this has been a enriching study for you. And like I've said many times before, this is not a study just to become head knowledge, but for a change in heart. And if you need individual counseling, mentoring, or you just want to be part of a group of women, then just reach out to me and I can add you to the group, where we have a lot of resources: how to bless your husband, how to bless your spirit man, how to pray for your children. And we do have prayers. It's a prayer group. We have testimonies. There is so much in it, and we need to stand together as women to encourage one another, to pray for one another. So join the community. And thank you for walking this 31 studies together with me. It's been really an amazing time. Thank you and many blessings. Shalom.